Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the EZAG podcast, the number one source of information to help you farm differently. This week, before we get started talking about irrigation efficiency, I'd like to remind you to be on the lookout in your mailboxes for information that'll be coming out next week about our 2020 virtual field day, the Summer of Change. Dr. Tom Field from the University of Nebraska is going to be leading us through several topics throughout the month of September regarding disruption, the forces of change, all the way up to harnessing the opportunity that comes from change. So you won't want to miss out on this year's field day. I'm sorry we can't do it in person, but there's a lot of forces of change out there that are causing us to rethink everything we're doing. Now back to the subject of today, I wanted to talk to you about a couple different ways that you might be able to improve your irrigation efficiency on your farm and improve the ROI of your irrigation applications. The number one way that I found to improve the efficiency of my irrigation is to change the way that I'm irrigating. And what I mean by that is change the way I'm applying the water to the field. And so I'm standing here just a couple feet from my pivot, but I'm not getting wet at all today because I've switched from the regular spray pad to a bubbler nozzle. And I'll show you, if we get down here close to the ground, this is what the bubbler looks like when it's in action right there above the soil. And I have the opportunity through the Kansas Water Office to be working with K-State Research and Extension on this field, and they do a lot of monitoring and testing on some of the things that we're doing in the field. And what we found is that the bubbler application of water is gaining us 5 bushels per acre of yield versus the regular spray nozzle or spray pad on your sprinkler. And so you might be thinking, 5 bushels, wow, that's quite a bit. I wonder what those bubblers cost. Well, the cost is pretty low. I'd use the cheapest bubbler you can find. These that I put on my pivot cost about $700 to outfit the whole system. And in the first year, they returned me about $2,400 on the field. And so a net of $1,700 the first year, and then just keep cranking that $2,400 wheel every year after that with no additional investment. Now I'm going to jump over to another area in our field, and I'm going to talk to you about a couple different systems that we're using to monitor soil moisture and also plant stress. Hey guys, so back with you here out in the cornfield again, and at this location what I have is a Phytech sensor set up. And so what the Phytech sensors do, they have one single site soil moisture sensor, which is placed about 12 inches deep in the ground, and then they have 3 sensors at this location that are they're measuring the shrinkage and swell of the stalk throughout the day. And so these are little sensors that clamp on the stalk, and as that stalk is bringing in moisture in excess of the amount that's transpiring through the plant, it's going to swell slightly. And when we're in a really hot sunny period of the day, that stalk may not, or that root system might not be able to bring up enough moisture, and that stalk is going to shrink down. When that stalk shrinks and swells throughout the day, these sensors are taking measurements, and then every day that measurement is reported in maximum daily shrinkage or growth. And so throughout the season, you see when that stalk shrinks and swells, whether your plant is going or becoming stressed or not. And that helps you make that decision on whether to irrigate, whether to continue irrigating, if you've got some time to shut off the system and allow that soil to dry some so that it can take in the moisture when your irrigation comes across the next time. So I'll flip the camera over here real quick and show you those sensors. So here's the setup, and this is the little unit that's sending the soil moisture sensor, and so you can see that line going down into the ground. Nothing really to see there. And then over here we have another little post that's holding this stock diameter sensor. And so this sensor is clamped on the stock there, and it just measures the very tiny movement or tiny change in the width of that stalk throughout the day and how much stress that corn is undergoing. Hey guys, so back here with you now, and I'm out in the corn and I'm at the site where I have the Grow Guru soil moisture sensor installed. And this big white post that you see behind me here, that's the telemetry unit that's sending the information from the soil moisture probe that's down in the ground up to the cloud so that I can get it on my cell phone or my computer. What I like about the Grow Guru system is this system is permanently installed, with the exception of a 4-inch top soil moisture sensor and this post here. So the probe that's in the ground is buried approximately 8 inches deep to the top of it, and that probe will stay in the ground with its battery pack for 7 to 10 years whenever that battery runs out. So the initial cost of this system is pretty high, but the fact that it's going to be out here monitoring soil moisture year round for up to 7 to 10 years, I think is a really good deal. The other thing I like about that is one of the difficulties with the traditional put in the spring and pull out in the fall systems that we've been using for soil moisture monitoring is that every year when you move that soil moisture probe, you have to re-establish the full points and the permanent wilting point or the refill points on your field. The nice thing about this one being permanently installed is until that battery goes dead down there in the ground, we shouldn't have to reset those full and refill points. And so we should, the first year is always kind of a little bit, or the first few months, a little bit of kind of figuring out where those full points are. After we've figured those full points out, those are set for years and years. And so I'm looking forward to having this probe in the ground and using it for the next few years. So hey guys, I want to wrap it up here real quick today and just say a couple things about irrigating efficiently. One is it does take a little extra time and some more thought when you go to planning your population and other things on the field for the year, and I'm going to talk about that in more detail in the coming weeks. Another thing though is the additional cost of, say, the bubblers or the soil moisture monitoring devices from Phytech or Grow Guru or other companies. I think most people have seen that they can recoup those costs fairly quickly by maybe saving an inch or two of irrigation. And I generally figure that 1 inch of irrigation costs about $5 an acre. And so for every inch of irrigation we can save on a pivot, we maybe save $600 toward the cost of that system. So 2 or 3 inches saved could be 2 or 3, or could easily pay for most of these systems. The other thing we have to think about is what's the long-term effect of having that water in storage in the aquifer? If we don't use that 1 or 2 inches, what can we use it for down the road? The economists from K-State say that the future value of water is only getting greater because it's becoming in shorter and shorter supply. And so are we efficiently using irrigation today to produce $3 corn? And should we back that off in order to have irrigation water to use in the future, hopefully when we're selling $6 corn? So that's all I've got for you today. I'm Matt Long, helping you farm differently, providing information you can't get anywhere else.